Dilip bhai, namaskar.
Namaskar. What an honor. Hello, Ansu. Thank you for joining.
Namaste. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to listen and thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's glad to get connected after a while.
Yes, yes.
All right. So everyone who's on this call, I should let you know that this is being recorded and it is being live streamed on YouTube, and it's available on hinduci.org/classroom while it's streaming live, and will be available after the session. So if you have any private questions or you have questions that you do not want to have recorded, you can type them in and I will speak them out for you, and that will work. We will begin in another 2 minutes, Dilip bhai. Is that all right?
Yep, sounds good.
Wonderful. Namaskar and welcome to all those that are joining in. My name is Gaurav Rastogi. I'm a board member and dean at the Hindu Community Institute, and I'm also a member of the Hindu Speakers Bureau. And this is a very important conversation that we're having today. This is an invitation to volunteer as a prison or jail chaplain or as a spiritual care provider, volunteer at prisons and jails all around the world. This is an important task, and we have very interactive session today. The announced guest we had is Ramji. Ramji had to, unfortunately, he's not joining today because of an emergency. He will join again at a later date. But we do have with us our Dilip Aminji. Dilip bhai is the head of, he's started the Hindu Speakers Bureau. He is, of course, or has been maintaining an interfaith marriage with interfaithshadi.org or .com, Dilip bhai?
It's .org.
.org. So interfaithshadi.org, and he's a very he's a very active member of the interfaith communities all around the Bay Area, and author of several books and a very well-known speaker. Dilip bhai is also a volunteer, a spiritual care volunteer at prisons and jails. And today we're going to have a conversation with him about this subject. So let me set the context, and then Dilip bhai, I'll invite you to come in and talk. As we all know, of course, we're recording this in America. America is possibly one of the most incarcerated nations in the world. We imprison a lot more people than most other countries do. And that's just a feature of how the American society has turned out to be. But that being said, it also means, it could either mean one thing: either there are more people that are criminal, or that the criminal justice system in America is is overactive, and in which case a lot of people that would in other countries not be going to jail or prison are also finding themselves in jail or prison here. And in all cases, those that are incarcerated means they're behind bars, they have a need for spiritual support. Obviously, this is a tough time in their life, and they are in need for answers. They're in need for support and contact with another human being who's not judging them, but is just there for them and helping them through this very tough time in their life that they're going through. And study after study shows that there's a lot of recidivism. Recidivism is when someone goes to a jail, comes out, and then goes back in again. Path to recovery requires people to find confidence in themselves and find faith that their actions, good actions, will also have good results. And all of that requires a spiritual companionship of sorts, which is a task that usually falls on chaplains that are working at those jails, but also requires spiritual care volunteers in the community. This is a very important task, and I wanted to share this this note from the prison system. Again, this is from this is on the Department of Justice website, and I just want to point this out. It was written 20 years ago. The chaplains are amongst the most important staff in the prisons, right? They make the Constitution real because they give people that have lost other freedoms. They still allow them to practice their religion, allow them to sort of engage, right? And I want to go to the yellow part. They provide counseling, religious teaching and preaching, lead worship of their faith, conduct funeral and or memorial services, and so on and so forth. They do a lot of these important things to everyone. And so this, while chaplains used to be, primarily Christian earlier, chaplaincy comes from a Christian construct. It is not so anymore for several reasons. Once the mix of society is changing, the orientation toward organized religion is changing, and the rise of non-Christian chaplaincy is, of course, on the upswing. And there are non-religious chaplains as well now that are out there, because that's the important thing is to provide spiritual care and support, not which specific denomination you come from. So with that being said, a few things that I wanted to bring up. One, America incarcerates a lot more people. And so on the spectrum, there are a lot of people that are in jails or prisons that in other countries would have been let go with a fine and so on. So there are people going through a very tough time in their life. They need spiritual care and support. There is formal spiritual care and support offered through chaplains, and those chaplains are supported by a large number of spiritual care volunteers in the community, which is the task for you. Each one of us needs to do that, and that's the conversation we're having today. And through this conversation, we're hoping to increase our own knowledge of this subject, but also increase the sense of commitment and duty that we have toward serving the incarcerated and helping them go through this tough time in their life. So that's the context for today's conversation. We are recording this, and when Ramji Ramapalaraju, when he comes back, we will have him talk to us about chaplaincy at length, and we hope that will be a great conversation. Today we're talking to Dr. Dilip Amin. So Dr. Dilip Amin has been working within the Bay Area's prison and jail system, and has been serving the Hindu inmates in those places. A few more things before I come to Dilipji. Hindus in general do not get incarcerated at the same ratio as our sort of representation in the society, but that doesn't mean there are not Hindu inmates in these jails. There are still Hindu inmates in these places, and they do need help. In the absence of Hindu spiritual care volunteers, they go to whoever offers spiritual care. It might be Bible study classes, it might be, other classes, welcome to Islam. All of these things are because they're looking for help, and whoever is out there providing help, they will take it. It's our job to reach out to the prison system and offer this help, which is our subject for today, that there are people who through whatever turn of fate find themselves incarcerated. They need spiritual care. They look for help from people within their religion, and we do not have an adequate supply of people doing these rounds, which is the task for us. The good news is, because Hindus do not get incarcerated at the same ratios, the numbers are low, which means if you sign up, it's not going to be a lot of hours every year. And that, Dilip bhai, I'm going to be asking you these questions. But it is important to offer these services because it's the right thing to do. And it helps people. We're not a judgmental religion. We're not there judging people and condemning them to heaven or hell. We are just there for them, to help them go through a tough time and help them recover on their path to becoming regular citizens when they come out on the other side. So those are the reasons this is an important meeting, and this is a very important conversation for us to have. And with that, Dilip bhai, I do welcome you to this conversation. I thank you for all the volunteering work that you do. And first, I'd like you to tell us the story of this young man that you met this week. Tell us about that visit and describe to us how he reached out to you and what the experience is. I'll talk about how to start up to be a volunteer later, but just tell us the story. What happened?
Namaste all. I think it's a great start that, like Gaurav asked, tell me a real life example. What happened? For example, let's use his name. I have to keep it secret that his name is Satish. Let's call him Satish. He's 30s, in early 30s. That guy, whatever DUI, whatever other reasons, minor things, he's in prison for 3 to 5 years, poor guy. Came out from a really nice family and everything, but he's in. Now he's going through so much difficulty, and naturally he's looking for spiritual care. So he has joined the Bible studies, and he's very impressed by all those teachings. And thinking of Jesus definitely helps him. And I told him, yeah, no, wonderful. What happened just a month or two before, he realized that there is a Hindu chaplain available in jail. And he says, my God, Hindu chaplain available in jail? Because this is, so far, this is non-existence. For example, just changing a little back to one of my friend, one of the best friend, right, living locally, he was in prison. You know, Hindus are, they don't have to go and kill others and all that. They could be in because of some business dealing or something like that. So Hindus do go. And even he said, I asked him that, have you talked about chaplaincy? He says, Hindu chaplaincy in jail? He says he was there for 6 months, and no, he never even occurred to him or never heard about it. So I said, then what? He says, yeah, he used to go to biblical Bible study group. I said, what do? He says, it's just a pastime. You go there, you have nothing, you're not doing anything. So he says he used to go there. So back to this Satish case. He find out that I'm available. So he says, can I meet in the Ram? I mean, I'm part of the system. So I went there, met him for Wednesday. I met him for 90 minutes. We had really great discussions. I tell you, that guy, I was so impressed by it. He's so bright. He's already planning his exit strategy, what he will come out and what he will do. Some of the anxiety Satish has it is that he says, you know, now he's going to be moved to new jail, and he doesn't know. You know, sometimes they get beaten up by some other inmates, and they have just so much anxiety, and he so much cares about his family and his mother and his other friends. And he says, when he come back to society, I don't know how they will. So point is, he has so much anxiety sitting inside the prison cell, and he's just looking for somebody to talk to and connect with. And so when he met me, he was so joyful that he can talk something back, his memories, what his mother was doing, took him to mandirs, and that mother was doing Hanuman Chalisa, and I gave him this material I knew beforehand. So I took some material and gave him, and he was so joyful about it. So first of all, when you meet inmate, you have to know that they are what situation they are. They are looking for somebody to hear them. So let them talk, understand what are their needs, where they stand. And this concern was mainly what will happen to next year. I mean, if he gets moved to new place, and he's just so much concerned about it. He's worrying so much about his mother and family and all that. So I gave a talk to him, just like you talk to your friend that I know mother, but I mean, most important thing is just you be happy. Somehow you learn to come out of it, out of your depression. And if you do these things, I gave him a lot of hopes that, there is a big life waiting for you. As a matter of fact, I also told him that, when you come out, he's in the local area where I live. So I say, I'm going to meet you. I will make sure that we'll help you find a job. We'll help you come out of it. We'll help you do many other ways. Don't worry about it. And all of a sudden, you can see that he's really feeling so, powerful. So when we met, and then I start asking other things, and I say, so what spiritually, what do you do? He says, well, he loves Jesus. I said, wow, that's not really great, because I also believe it's a great Jesus teaching and all that. So I said, what do you do in these things? So he says he goes to biblical studies. They study about the Bible and they discuss about these things. And in general, they do many other spiritual things. As a chaplain, including for Christian chaplains, you cannot go and proselytize them. Meaning you cannot say that, look, my religion is better and convert to my religion, because, they are poor people who are incarcerated. You cannot take advantage of that situation. So I'm sure that whoever is the Christian side chaplain, they're not trying to convert them, but they are offering these things. And when you being offered for 2-3 years, and he is impressed with Jesus, and he says when he thinks of it, it gives him a lot of strength. I said, no, great, keep on doing it, no problem, because I've read Bible and I'm impressed by Jesus' teaching, so nothing against it. So at that time, I took it, all those material, Hanuman Chalisa, which he asked for it and all that, and that had photo of all those Hindu gods and all that. So I said, what do you think of these Hindu gods? I mean, what is your impression about it? He says, no, yeah, they are God, but in biblical studies, they say those are idol. You're not supposed to worship those things, and you have to just focus on Jesus. So I asked him that, so what do you think? He says, it should not be this way. Why not? I mean, he loves Hanumanji and Rama, and they are great people. So I says, he says, it's not everybody thinks that way. Half of them thinks, now you could pray to other gods too. And some half says, you have to just give up everybody and just focus on this one. So I said, what are you going to do? He says, he's just going to believe all. I said, okay, keep doing it. Wonderful. Point is, I gave him the options. Other options, what are there? When I was talking halfway, and then he says, he was so excited. He says, can we do Hanuman Chalisa? And I happened to learn Hanuman Chalisa just a year before, because I felt that in my mandir, everybody does it. And why I don't know Hanuman Chalisa? So I managed to recite completely with him. So I said, okay, keep your copy, keep my copy. I will not look unless if I miss out, help me out. So, he felt so good that he's here to help me out. And then in prison, and in prison, meaning before reaching him, I had to go through my ID. I gone through 6 different spots where somebody look at me and open the door, and so many barbed wires. And after I met this guy Satish, and then we were sitting in a closed door between 2 of us. And in this closed environment, then we both start doing Hanuman Chalisa. And I tell you, it was we did it just loudly, clearly. And it was such a great feeling to do. What I do every time in my mandir, which I like it anyway. But to be inside the prison, to sit in front of inmates and reciting Hanuman Chalisa, it was just, personally, I feel so good about it. And what that Satish said, that he had some other material, and there was another inmates in his close by. And he started asking, what kind of this material? And he showed him this Hanuman Chalisa and Hinduism and all that. He says, and he started taking interest in that one. And he says, wow, that's great. So he's also interested in learning more about some Hindu things and all that. So my bottom line is, I feel this is just a godly work. Somebody needs help. There is no break in science you are doing. You're just going and meeting them. You're not trying to change their mindset. If he loves Jesus, he wants to become Christians, and so be it. That's not our job to change them to something else. You just console them, help them. If what we have to offer is Hinduism, and then we can say that, yeah, follow Hanumanji, and that's what he's going to do every day, recite it, and it will help him get the strength. And I say, along with that, Jesus too, who will help you. And basically, hopefully, it will help him go through his difficult time and come out easily.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dilip bhai, for sharing. So set the scene for us in the context. Could you describe for us, because we've only seen the insides of jails and prisons in movies and TV. What are we dealing with? Are you going through this security check and you're inside a room? Are there other people, just the two of you?
It's a real prison. Meaning there are so many big barbed wire, and you go through, I probably 6 or 7 different stops. You stop there, somebody's watching your TV, and then they let you go in, and then you let you go in. And ultimately I reached to this guy where the security guard, they are tough guys, they are waiting, and they say, stop, you go and sit there. And then we sit in this room. Then we close the door, and door was locked up. Both of them were inside, and door was locked up. So I mean, it is a prison. I mean, it is a jail system, and it is there. So there are certain do's and don'ts we are supposed to follow. That whatever material we give, we cannot give a hard copy bound book, but only soft bound book we can. We cannot give anything which is a staple, because the staple clips there, they can use it for some bad purposes and all that. So that's something, when you register, they teach you what to do. But basically what I'm trying to tell you all, that you are already qualified. You are already have everything what you needed. Only thing you need to do is to call up your local county. Every county has jail. So probably you may not have to drive far. And just ask for chaplaincy program and register. They will ask for your fingerprints, some paperwork, and then they give you some little training of 2 hours. And there you go. You are ready to go.
Wonderful. Let's get to that stepwise. So the first question is, you've set the scene. This is inside a prison system. You have to go all the way in. You're having this conversation. Do you get to see the same people again and again? Or
there are many things we can do. And again, that is actually my objective, is to go and learn how the system works, because Hindus are non-existent inside. For example, when I went and touring, I said, show me the library. So they opened the library and showed me the prison. It says, these are all the books, and any inmate they can come and open it.
No,
and
my question is,
everything.
So the same inmate, they can request to see you again and again?
Okay. First of all, this system, they cannot say that there is a Hindu available, you are Hindu, you want to go meet him. But they can say in general that Hindu, Buddhists, they are available. So they say, oh, Hindu available, so it should be their choice.
Okay.
The same inmate, the Satish, I'm going to meet him every monthly basis. So I can meet him every month basis. I can go and do is set up that's something for HCI. That you can set up monthly or daily yoga classes. If you want, every day you can go and perform yoga. And I think that's a great thing. You cannot say that let's do religious classes, because you have to be a little mindful about it. But if you do just spiritual things, there is a lady I know in Canada, and she just go and do chanting, and in juvenile. See, there is a male jail, there is a female jail. I've been to both of them. I have not been to juvenile. And then there is the prisons there. So there are so many variety of them. So she does in Canada she goes inside and just chanting. And she says just chanting, secular kind of chanting. And it works really great for those juvenile, helps them calm it down.
Okay, so there are many ways to engage. Okay, so let's go one step at a time. So it is possible to meet inmates to request to speak with a volunteer. You can show up. You can set up more meetings with them. You can also do routine classes like chanting or yoga, And those are all things that you can offer to anyone who's interested in offering. There is no proselytization. You cannot proselytize to begin with. So that's a good thing for us from the Hindu tradition. Of course, we don't in general proselytize. Okay, let me ask you this question, more fundamental questions. I'm just trying to learn this on behalf of our audience. What is the difference between a prison and a jail?
Basically, jail is, you may have heard that Mahatma Gandhi was sent to jail so many times. He was never in prison, meaning jail is for those who are going through their court trials, and those who are low ranks, they are in jail. That's a low level. And prison is more those who are incarcerated, more proven guilty people.
I see. So when someone is sentenced, they go to a prison, typically you're saying.
So we may be invited to any of them. I'm certified for both San Francisco jail system, jail and prison system, and Santa Clara. So 2 counties I am certified for.
Fantastic. Okay, so now we know the difference between jail and prison somewhat. And now let's talk about spiritual care volunteers and how to register. So talk us through the process that you went through to register. And again, if you're watching in another country, your mileage may vary. Your country may have different systems, but you'll notice that it won't be very different from this, because essentially the framework is the same, which is you need to be someone that the state can trust, is not smuggling, drugs or weapons inside. So they'll need to validate your background. They'll need to check you. So all of those steps, you may have different sequence, but the underlying principle is likely to be the same. So with that, Dilip bhai, tell us how you registered. Okay, let me actually go all the way back. Why did you even start this? What was the drive for you to register?
For me, I've been going to jail all my life, even in childhood, because we used to go for Raksha Bandhan in India. And so for me, it was, I've been going. And when I heard it over here, some friend told me that there is we can go and do, just like I'm telling you, volunteer work. Immediately, I jump on it. I said, wow, this should be really. And the main reason I went there, naturally to help inmates like that Satish I mentioned, given. But at the same token, I have a different motive that I want to go understand the system and go tell the Hindu community. Because inside the jail system in America, Hinduism is completely missing out. Completely out. Versus the Christianity and Islam, especially Islam lately, every prison has the really certified imam and definitely Christian priest. And actually, it's a paid job. You can make money out of these things. Meaning, there are 2 things. One is a chaplaincy, jail chaplains, and those are the you have to go through certain trainings, maybe 1 or 2 years of training, and then you become a chaplain. And that's where you get paid and you go on everyday basis. And the other, what I'm doing is a volunteer job where basically I can say that all of you have enough experience what you needed and risks what you need.
Let's get to that question. So you had a drive to become a volunteer, and everyone will have their own drivers, but there is a need from the prison, jail and prison inmates for this care. And if you feel that you have a capacity to serve, then this is where the need to serve is the highest. Now, with that being said, how did you go about registering to be a volunteer?
Yeah. Registering in Santa Clara County, what happened, that county has assigned that to the private corporation, that's a CIC Ministries. So when you call, if you happen to be in Santa Clara County, you call up in jail that I want to chaplaincy. This says, okay, talk to CIC Ministries. And every year their contract got renewed. So when I reach out to this Santa Clara County and this CIC ministry, they have really great systems and they really follow through. They want these volunteers, especially from these rare communities like Hinduisms, Jainisms, even Judaism, not many volunteers there in this one. So my process, basically, as soon as I reach out, they were really, they send me the form, I fill out the form. They says go for fingerprinting. Naturally, they check my background record, and then they say go for fingerprinting. I got my fingerprinting done, and then next they gave me 2 hours of training. And this is voila, you are now certified person, volunteer chaplain to go in the prison and wait for it. So whenever I've been certified in both the systems for almost 4 years, and I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you call it, I've been inside the jail for about 10 times, because it's not a tremendous amount of work, but at the same token, it's just very satisfying to feel that you can go inside and if you are looking to build your resume, I mean, it's a bad way of saying it. It's also looks good in my books. I say I'm a jail chaplain, and it's so definitely the process is simple. Again, in San Francisco system, it was not simple, because I was told beforehand that you have to keep hammering, keep calling, because you call, they keep on ignoring, and finally they get tired and they reply call back. So whatever it takes in your county, you have to do it. But know that every county jail system, every county has a jail, and every county jail system has a room for you. So you exercise your right. It is your right to go in and help inmates.
Okay, good. That's very helpful. So now you felt the need, you signed up to be a volunteer, and then they have let the inmates know that these types of volunteers are available. Someone raises a request for you, and now they ask you to come up at a particular place and time. Do you get information about the inmate and their case beforehand, before you go to the...
Yes, it's good to know beforehand what are the needs of the inmates. For example, this guy Satish, I was told that he's a young guy. He has some petty cash, small issues. And again, they cannot disclose too much. That's none of our business. And I was also told that he's interested in Hanuman Chalisas, and he has a Hindu background. So that's why I came prepared and I took things for him. So yes, they do give you background, but in do's and don'ts, we cannot get into his case that we should not. I mean, that's not our business. That how he got incarcerated, how can get out of it fast, or you're not a legal counsel. That how he should. But in general, you can talk whatever spiritually way you can help him out in his situation.
Good. Thank you, Dilip. So now, what is the volume of caseload that you have handled on average every year?
It's all up to you. For example, for me, as I said, that 10 hours in last 4 years, almost none. At the same token, now this Satish guy, if I go every week, he would love to come and talk to, because he has nothing else to do. So it's what is your need? And again, you decide when you are free. You says, okay, I will go this and this time, and so it's all flexible. You decide what time. So don't think that I'm too busy, I don't have time. Even if you have little desire, little time, you want to go only 3 times. If you want to go only once a quarter, meaning 4 times a year, so be it. Alternatively, if you want to become every day, you want to go in. Suppose your prison is close by and you feel dedicated to it, you can start meditation class every day. Maybe 5 inmates comes out. You know, as a matter of fact, when Ram, the other guy who was supposed to, and he's a certified chaplain, so he's a more advanced level, he gives these meditation classes every day. And he says 35, 40 people are, I mean, those inmates are sitting there. So, I mean, he's taking it more advanced. I would suggest that HCI should you have a great yoga teachers, chanting classes, meditations, spiritual needs, mind control. You can do Diwali's coming, go to Diwali festivals inside the prison. You can go and show them the movies, no doubt appropriate movie, for example, Gandhi movie, because it's teaching them to be non-violent. So there are so many ways we can go help. And one point I forgot, let me add to that when I opened their drawer for library, I saw that it's all Bible and Quran sitting there. And I says, wait, I asked the librarian, how about the Gita? While Gita or any Hindu book is not there. He said, Gita, what is the Gita? Explain me. So, I mean, I don't blame them because they never heard about Hindu scriptures. So I immediately call up Hare Krishna people, local Hare Krishna people, and they get so joyous. They went there and delivered 20 copies of Gita. And this is as soon as you ran out of it, because inmates take it and keep it for their own copy. As soon as they came out, call us and they will deliver more. You know, in 15 days or month, all those Gitas 20 Gitas were disappeared from it. So they called me back again and again. Hare Krishna guys got so excited. I tell these Hare Krishna people too that, I mean, they work on the streets, but they should also be volunteer in inside the jail. Except that they need to make sure that they cannot say, I mean, they have to be mindful. They cannot proselytize somewhere, but just help them for spiritual needs.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dilip bhai. So, are there other personal or mental preparations that you had to do for yourself in order to prepare to serve as a volunteer?
They give you booklets. They tell you what are the kind of things, but again, it's all common sense. Nothing unusual which you may not expect.
Wonderful. Now, what are the possibilities of telechaplaincy, Dilip bhai? Which is, we can do this. Can we do this over Zoom with inmates? Is that allowed in the prison system?
Zoom, they don't allow. I still have, I think probably Ram will be better person to ask those things, whether we can do phone and all that. Because the reason you have to understand that the prison system, if they start doing the Zoom, that inmate may end up starting, you don't know. So they cannot control it. So again, I may not know enough about it, but as I go more and more, I will learn the system.
No, that's very logical. All right. So let me sum up my understanding. There is a huge, this is a very stressful time for the inmates. Not everyone's a hard-boiled killer. Most people are just average Joes that just took the wrong turn and they find themselves here. And it's a tough time in their life. They need spiritual help and support. And to the extent that we are able to help, just be there for them, talk to them, hear their concerns out, it will help them. If we can teach them ways to reduce their stress, improve the quality of life inside, those are all things that they will appreciate. And so as a spiritual care volunteer, this is something that everyone must do because it brings the most satisfaction to those that need it the most. The process that you've described, Dilip bhai, seems relatively straightforward. The prison will typically have a clearing agency that you work with. You clear yourself out. It's a simple process. And then you go when you go. Now, there are several things that you told us, Dilip. I'm just playing back. We can offer classes. We can offer yoga classes, meditation classes. We can offer visits, which you are doing. We can also offer books. We can offer holiday celebrations.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I know when we were talking to Ramji before today's call, he said in some cases the inmates are concerned about their families, or their families are doing their pujas and they're saying, bring me the prasad from that puja, because that's an important part of the whole process. And all of that are things that you can do as an inmate.
On that point, this our holy thread. Satish wanted this holy thread, so Ram make it sure that now he's wearing this nice red holy thread all the time, and he feels powerful for that. So it's like that option. I mean, there are many options there, and again, we are still learning what we can do and not do. One other important point. It's very interesting that the food, you expect normal prison food is not what you get in these 3-star restaurants, probably boring food. But if you convert to Islam, then naturally you have to eat halal food, which prison does not support. And then because you are Muslim, you get the halal food. Halal food costs probably 4 times more than the regular food. And with your tax dollars, of course. And the halal food is really great. So the the people who are controlling, I mean, working in that area, police people, they make sure that they are not doing only for food, you know. So they watch that whether are you performing your namaz 5 times a day or not? Are you meeting the imam every time or not? So that's right. So my point being that let's say if somebody is a Jain and don't want particular onion and potatoes and all that requirements, and that doesn't mean that whatever food they just remove all those meat and they just offer whatever left over, because then it's not a nutritional food.
Hello, Gauravji.
Yeah,
I mean, I think, and I'm listening to this discussion, and I can see how there is a great need. And but we are a minuscule part of this whole system to be able to do anything big. I think we need to look at a strategic way. And the only way I see right now for us to make a dent in, send the single volunteers, but have them propose the availability of yoga classes, which we do all day long. HCI is offering yoga classes every day. I think we should say, look, our people should be offered these classes. If they want to take them, here is the schedule for classes, and we are happy to convey that. Ram also told me that telechaplaincy is being deployed in this COVID era. So that has been happening. It is basically practiced in prisons. And I think we would be a very good candidate for telechaplaincy, because having one volunteer go, how much can you cover?
Yeah.
How do you recruit the volunteer? Okay. I think our energy should go into creating a major change where they accept our yoga classes, they accept telechaplaincy on demand. If a prison says, I want to talk to a chaplain, our call center gets a call, one of our prison chaplains gets online. They probably have somebody watching their conversation. That may be the way they protect the information. I don't know. So I think we should consider that approach as well as we do, and have the volunteers become the instruments of introducing these two concepts in the system.
No, I think I agree, Kailashji. I think the first point, I think that will be feasible. Second may not be. The first one is you have already yoga classes going on. So meaning you have a structured program, meaning there is no goofing around. It's not one-to-one yoga because they may not allow that, but you have a structured program. Provide them just a schedule that these are the schedules, whoever wants, they can join it. So that's I think correct. That's probably feasible, and that we can work with Ram and see if it can be implemented. And if it can be implemented in one system, it could be implemented in all systems. So that's easy. The other one you're talking about is having a Zoom one-to-one. I don't know whether you said that one of their own person can monitor it, but it's expensive to have every time some county representative sitting next to us.
Yeah. So, I think it's a simple question to ask. Do they allow telechaplaincy or not? Telechaplaincy is picking up. It's happening around the world now, okay? And so I think we should ask them, hey, do you allow telechaplaincy or not? And then that's simple, okay? And maybe we should convince them, hey, it's good for us because we don't have, Hindu chaplains are not available. We don't have enough trained people. It will be really efficient for us to, and for them to, the well-being of the prisoners is important. So I think just advancing that case would be a good idea, is what I'm saying.
Excellent. I agree 100%. Let's explore that one working with Ram. Yeah. I want to remind one more thing, that we are not only there to help Hindu chaplain, Hindu.
That's correct.
Interreligious. Everybody.
Yeah, interreligious. That's what we call it. Yeah.
Anybody.
So, yeah. I did want to, when we have Ramji come back on this topic next time, he did mention that in addition to, so in terms of the things, I'm just preparing anyone who's listening to this to think about it. You already have the tools with you. If you can chant your own prayers, you can chant with someone in prison, and it will bring them tremendous peace. If you can just sit and listen to someone describe their concerns, you can do that to someone who is very concerned. If you can connect with families and bring them peace when they're going through all of this, you can do this. If you can teach meditation, hold meditation classes, or teach yoga, you can do this. If you can distribute books, you can do this. there are so many ways to serve in this particular place, and we should all find ways to do. The other thing that Ramji mentioned is that some prisoners that are there long term, they get the books that you're describing. They have questions. So he was describing a Hispanic gentleman who had read the Gita and had questions around the Gita and other books also. And they have, deep philosophical questions that they need to talk to someone about. And it's helpful to have you available to talk and share your perspective, because it helps them. They have a lot of time to think about this topic. And if you can help them think clearer, you will have made a difference to that individual's spiritual journey as well.
Other point, just for HCI, let's say you start doing yoga, probably HCI may be getting paid, because this is, it's your own tax dollars. This prison costs a lot of money to our system, and a lot of people are probably making a lot of money anyway. So if you do actually help, who knows, that HCI may get paid for your services.
Sure.
I don't know enough about right now.
Yeah, I think that subject should be taken off, but I really seriously think we should talk to not just Santa Clara, but maybe some other prison systems also. The tele-chaplaincy would be allowed, and whether we can have our classes, yoga classes, become available to the entire prison system. It doesn't matter who wants to take it.
No, and the yoga and meditation classes should be available. Ramji, when he teaches the 35 people that attend his class, they're just anyone who wishes to find
That's
peace.
great. And we do them. These classes are happening every day, so might as well just pump them into the place also.
Yeah.
Naresh Pathakji is here. Do you want to share, Nareshji, about your efforts in Florida? Okay, I guess if he comes back, we'll ask. So what I try to do is I try to wherever I go in Florida, I really work on it. Try to Nareshji, namaste.
Namaste, ji. Namaste. Namaste.
Do you want to share your experience trying in Florida?
Yes, I will. First of all, I just wanted to thank you, Dilip Bhai, because he's the one who inspired me to do the jail chaplaincy. And I have been doing it for over a year now.
Oh,
and
I did not know that. Good.
I'll tell you how the system works in Broward County in South Florida. The police department is in charge of chaplaincy program. And so you have to register at the police department, and there are 2 steps you have to go through. First step is clearance. So you go to a meeting with the original Social Security card and photo ID, and you need an affiliation with an organized institution, which means a temple. They do not allow an individual chaplain to come inside. You have to be part of a temple system. So you need a letter from a temple that says, yes, this person is part of our organization. And so I had to get that letter from South Florida Hindu Temple. Once you present all those documents, then at that time, they give you an orientation for about 1.5 to 2 hours, where they educate you on the safety requirements as you enter the prison system, that you cannot shake hands, you cannot hug, you cannot give them anything from the outside, you cannot take anything from inside. You were talking about the prasad from home. You're not allowed to give anything to them, especially food, because they don't want anybody bringing in poison. Then the scheduling department through the police department is a different department. So once you have been approved, say, yes, you are now security cleared, then you send an email to the head of chaplaincy. And that individual, you request your time and your date. So I go there once a month, a Saturday morning. That's the time I have. And so I request the dates. And there are 4 local prisons that are within my driving range. So they want you to pick one. They don't want you to say, give me wherever you have available. So you need to pick a prison and the time and the date, and you send it to them. And then they approve it and you get it back. And then you, at that time, you show up at that prison facility. As you enter, there are lockers outside where you have to put everything away, your wallet, your phone, your watch, your belt. You cannot take anything that can be used as a weapon. You put that all in the locker, and the locker is self-locking, and you get a key, and then you wait and you give the receptionist your driver's license, and they keep the driver's license and they print an ID for you that you stick on your shirt. And if there are other chaplains that have scheduled a visit at the same time, they will be there too. So everybody meets together who has a 9 a.m. say Saturday morning appointment, and a guard will come and they'll physically escort you through multiple doors, inside the doors, to the inside of the prison. The place where I go is a low security, it still go through 5-6 doors. It's a low security type prison, which means the prisoners who are there are mostly there for smaller crimes, drug trafficking, stealing, robbery, and so on. And so there is a hall, which is a food hall. They don't have a chapel in that area where I go to. It's a little food hall where all the prisoners get together at that time. So they don't have anything else planned at that time. And in that area, there are approximately 50 or so prisoners. And there are 4 guards that are constantly there. And there is a small station at the center of the hall where all 4 guards wait. One of them circulates, 3 of them wait there. And you basically stand at one corner. They give you a chair if you want to sit down. And they have chairs for the prisoners where they all sit down. And then you have about hour to hour and a half. And you can pick any subject you want. You can talk about anything you want. You can share stories with them. You can ask them to ask questions. So a few times when I went there, the local Calvary Chapel has a very long-standing organized program for addiction. So a few times when I went there, they were there to give their addiction treatment plan through spiritual approach. And basically it was a non-denominational. So they put a DVD of gospel music, then they open up a book and have the prisoners read from that book about how to spiritually deal with addiction. And so I basically joined them. And I said, I have things to share. And they were so happy that they were running out of things to talk. They were talking the same thing over and over. So I talked to them about Vedantic principles on how to understand that they are not human beings looking for a spiritual experience, that they are spiritual beings going through a temporary human experience. And by looking at the way you see yourself, elevates your self-esteem and prevents you from making the wrong decisions. And so Vedanta has so many stories, and that's what the Upanishad means, in front of storytelling between a master and a student. And so I shared those stories because people don't understand raw facts, but they remember stories. That's what the whole Ramcharitmanas is. So I told them stories from Ramayana, and told them stories from Mahabharata, and what the Gita is based on, and how to conquer yourself, who you are, and how to make right choices during difficult times. So it was non-denominational. Even the Calvary Chapel, what they were doing, other than the gospel music, was basically non-denominational. And so you do that for about hour and a half, and then we leave. But about when you get approved, I send in a soft cover Gita to them, to the chaplain headquarters, because whatever book you're going to use to teach out of, they have to approve it. So I send in the book that I had from ISKCON, Swami Prabhupada's, and they approved it. And once it got approved, then I could use that book. I can take that book in and I can use it if I needed to refer to it or read something. Though I generally, don't use the book, because I think it creates, in my opinion, personal opinion, it creates a distance between you and the person. You want to look them in the eye to eye and talk to them as an individual, as a person. And I think I connected much better by just not using anything, just telling them stories, sharing examples of my difficulties in life and how I got through them, and then they can do the same thing. So that's my short 1-year experience of the local prison system in South Florida.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad you made it. I did not know. Yeah.
Anybody can do this. You just need to go through initial process to make sure that you've been cleared, and then make sure you can't take anything with you.
Let me add to it that what Nareshji said, that's in his local county. See, there is no US-wide standard rules. Every county has their, they have certain guidance. And then everybody, for example, in my case, I just go alone to particular door. I know how to go there and all that. So everybody has different nuances, different way of working with it. So what we need to do as a community, we need to have a lot more people sign up in different things, and maybe make a booklet. HCI could make a booklet or some kind of guidance, US-wide, worldwide, that Hindus learn to go inside the prison and help the inmates.
And the jail system that I go to, there are no Hindu prisoners, and so you have to modify what you say and how you say, so that it's applicable to everybody, because you're not going to find enough Hindu-seeking prisoners.
Wonderful. Naresh bhai, thank you very much for this amazing share and for the wonderful work that you do. Dilip bhai, there's a question, maybe either of you can answer. Can two people go together, like a chaplain and a volunteer?
I'm sorry, I'm not clear. What is that?
Can you team up with a chaplain and go with a chaplain as a volunteer? Can two people team up?
Me and Ram, we have been together. He came and we sit for first, he sat with me for 15-20 minutes, and then he had to take care of something, so he left. Yeah, that's possible.
Okay.
In my area, both individuals have to request the same time individually. You can't just tag along.
Got it. Okay, so you have to be requested at that time. Okay. What about, can women volunteer? Is that something that you recommend? Is there a problem with it?
I have met women inmates, and naturally for women inmates, they prefer women meeting them. And probably women can also go and meet male inmates. So, I mean, they can, if they have some safety concern, they can ask beforehand who I am meeting and all that. But for example, this Satish guy I'm talking about, he's just so nice guy. I mean, it's just unfortunate that he's there. So a woman could be really helpful to him. Wonderful. Especially motherly figure, because that's what he's missing out.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate the work you're doing and for talking us through this entire journey. And so, closing comments from anyone?
I want to say that probably end of the year, I'm hoping that we will have 10 Nareshji around the US. And by end of 2024, we'll have 100 chaplain. And then I hope HCI or Hindu Speakers Bureau can take up and maybe make up some concise document like a booklet that we can tell to every all over US. We can go and tell and worldwide that this is the unexplored area for Hindus, and there is no way we can not pay attention to it.
Yeah, I think I have a suggestion, Gaurav. Nareshji, I like your. I think it seems to me that the systems vary from prison system to prison. I don't think they have the same procedure to register and to perform services. That's the first point. And so I was suggesting is that perhaps we make 2 video clips. One is a Dilipji's model, one is Nareshji's model, and because we have these incoming scholars in our classes now, for them to be guided about how to go about surveying and what are the kit of tools. What do you take to the prison? I mean, Nareshji takes a different recipe than Dilipji does, right? So I think there's some way to capture these 2 models for people.
Okay. Yeah. I would say that keep both, because whatever the third jail system they will go, they will have even their own. So exactly. There is nothing standard right now.
I know. So that's how do you introduce the significance and how to of this? And it's not a very major commitment, right? It is only a few hours a week or whatever.
You can choose whatever time you can commit. Now, in my area, during the COVID, everything was done through video chat, but they stopped doing all video chats as of 2023 because of inadequate resources of video telecommunication. And so they do not have that anymore.
I see.
But if you request it, you can't get it because there is not enough equipment in the jail system for everybody to be able to access. Like when I go, I'm speaking to a group of 40, 50 people. They can't have all that in a video chat. They have one video camera in that whole hall that they take turn talking to their family.
I see. Okay. So they don't have like a video room where they can walk in.
No.
Get a session done.
This is jail. No. They try to minimize everything.
Yeah.
No Zoom teleconferences.
No Zoom teleconference. No.
Gaurav, you are not paying enough tax dollars. So they don't have much money.
I think we're paying enough tax dollars to incarcerate a higher proportion of
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So in closing, I'd like to say that there's a high need. The Hindu tradition is a wide kit of tools. There's so many things that are available that you can take. You know, everyone who's listening and watching now and later, there's so much available in the Hindu tradition that's available to people during these times of distress that you are able to take to the incarcerated. So the process is simple, like Dilipji and Nareshji described. Go talk to the local prison, call them up, ask how to volunteer, and they'll tell you what the process is. Go through the process of validating and then show up. The kit of tools is wide. If you know meditation, go teach meditation. If you know yoga, go teach yoga. If you just want to be there and help other chaplains do their thing, like Nareshji was describing, do that. But do it. That's the more important thing. With that, we thank you very much for this wonderful conversation, Dilip Bhai, Naresh Bhai, Kailash. It's been a very fruitful and very worthwhile discussion. I appreciate all the work you're doing. Thank you.
Anyone is interested or curious about, do reach out to me. You see my name, Dilip Amini at yahoo.com. And I will be very happy to guide you through, and same thing, Nareshji.
I will be there anytime.
Wonderful.